It's just called the Quant Studio Real-Time PCR software. And I think that Thermo Fisher has it available, like, if you want to download it. And I think you can actually set up your experiments like on your home computer and then bring in, if you want, you can always bring that in and upload it. So this works by two different file types. It has a .eds file type, which is the main file type that you'll be using. So you can also save, I think it's called .edt files, and those are template files. So if you're going to have a bunch of samples that you're running with the same template, you can save an .edt file. But if you're just saving a file that you want to run, make sure it's saved as a .eds file. Okay, so yeah, if you open up the software, the machine itself is really easy to use. It just has a power button back here, and it's marked by a little sticker. It's on the back left of the machine, and you'll just flip that on before you start the software. You actually want the machine to be completely on before you open the software, or you have to like set up your experiment, close out everything, and then reopen it, because it won't establish a connection with the machine unless the machine is on. But let's just say the machine's on and you open up the software. The prompts are pretty easy to follow. So you just go to, up here, you go to New Experiment.
You all have to warm up the machine for a while before I run the experiment?
No, it will actually, so once it turns on, it actually doesn't start warming up until you click run. So it takes about probably like 3 or 4 minutes to heat up the plate, and then it will start its run. So you don't have to get it going. It doesn't, the bulbs that it uses, all of that it does itself, and it automatically turns them off after the run too. So you don't have to turn off the machine like immediately after use or anything either. It does all of that itself. Okay, so yeah, when you hit New Experiment, this pops up, and you just enter your experiment name up here. So that's required, and it automatically fills in the date and then just like some barcode number. So you can just change that to whatever you want. We have the Quant Studio 6 Flex, so you'll leave that one. It's automatically selected, so you'll leave that one selected. I use the 0.1 mil plates, so that's usually what's automatically like selected when you are picking which block you want to run. I don't know if we have, like, I don't know if it's capable of also running 0.2 mil blocks. I think we only have a 0.1 mil block in there.
Is there a difference of normal 96 plate or fast 96 plate?
I don't think so. If you want, I can email you which plates we used. I can't remember if they actually stay fast on them. I don't think they do. But yeah, I can definitely send you which ones we used. I think any that are the standard, like Thermo Fisher 0.1 mil, will probably work on here. Okay, and then it asks you what type of experiment you want to run. If you do all of your analysis by hand, which is what I do, it doesn't really matter what you select here, but since I'm usually doing delta-delta CT, I just select that. But again, like the software has the capability to calculate all of that for you, but I don't usually do that. I usually just do it myself. But you can select that next. And then depending on if you're running TACMan or Cyber, you would select that here. And then if you're running standard versus fast, I've never run the fast, so I don't know if it has different like run methods that you have to select, but I always run standard, and I can show you what that one looks like. Okay, so then over here, once you filled out all of that, you would go to the next thing, which is define. So you'll select that, and then you just enter your target names in this left-hand panel here. So whatever your gene targets are, and then if you have whatever reporter you're using, if you're using TACMan, or if you select Cyber on the previous screen, then it will automatically fill Cyber in here. So I'm not sure which chemistry you're using, but
we have Cyber.
Okay, so it will automatically fill in Cyber here, and then you don't have to worry about a quencher. The other thing that you'll fill out is the sample names. So you'll make a list here, and just like with the targets, you'll just hit new, and it'll keep adding lines for your new samples. Okay, then up next is and then like it has the capabilities to add in like biological groups and all of that, but again, I don't use any of that because I do it myself. So I don't worry about selecting this reference sample or endogenous control. I just leave that, I just leave that alone in my case. So then next you go to assign, and then it brings up, this is probably pretty similar to what you would use on other softwares, but you'll just select whatever groups you have. So like, let's say that this is gene 1, you would select whichever ones, and then you go over here and you hit this little check mark there, and it will populate those. Same thing with your samples. So you'll go through, select, whatever rows your samples are, and do that. I do think it only runs wells that you have a target selected in. So it's not going to automatically run the whole plate. So make sure that whatever wells you have filled actually have some kind of target name to them. Otherwise, at least I don't think it runs that well at all. So there won't be any data that fills in.
So, see if I understand correctly. So the software, it seems like don't automatically run the whole plate, so I have to select the specific wells and then find a target name for it.
Right, yes. So it doesn't have to have a sample name in, but it does have to have a target name in order to generate data. Okay, so that's all you do on this page. And then you would go over here to run method is next. So you just select that. And it looks like, oh, am I on the fast? No? Okay. Oh, let me go back. I'm going to go back into Cyber because it'll pull up the melt curve at the end. Okay, so run method will look like this. The only thing really that you'll need to adjust is your TM. So you just like click on the TM there and fill that in. And then obviously fill it in on your melt curve stage 2. And yeah, you just type it in and hit enter and it should auto-populate it. The other thing to adjust here, I don't know, I usually run a standard 40 cycles, but you can always adjust the number of cycles. And then there's also, this is important to change the reaction volume up here. So just change that to whatever your volume is per well. Otherwise, I don't ever change any of the like 10-minute holds or anything. I think you can. I think you have the capability. If you need to adjust that for some reason, you can. You just click on it, but I've always just left those as they are. Okay, and then once you're satisfied with that, I usually kind of click back through everything to make sure like nothing got like changed or whatever, but as long as everything looks good for your whole setup tabs, then you'll just go to this run tab over here. And it brings up your plates, and then this amplification plot will fill in over time as your reaction's running. You'll go up here to this start run green button and hit the little down arrow on the right hand side. And because there's no instrument right now, it'll say not compatible. It will also give you this error if you have the software on before the machine was up. So it'll just tell you there's no instrument. So you have to save your .eds file, close out the software, and then reopen it for it to be ready. And once you do that, once there is an instrument, there's going to be like right underneath this green box, there's going to be a little string of numbers that pops up. That's the machine's ID number, and you'll click on that.
Is there a password to get into the computer itself?
There is, yes. It's here. It's
okay.
Always sits somewhere here in this little area, but it's the same exact password as the username. So you always want to use, I can put a little mark on this. If there's a pen here.
I might have Caitlin change that to like just the regular BME 1275 so we have everything on the same. Or I might have her look into that. I'll let you guys know if I do, but I'm just thinking in general, like I like things to be the same so we don't miss, if we lose these, we're in trouble.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you have to use capital letters here and the dash in there for the password too.
Okay.
But use the user one, not the admin one.
Okay, the user one.
Yes. Oh yeah, let's see something here about the machine. Oh, it'll prompt you. So one thing you have to be careful of is even if you get your machine number to pop up and you click it and it tells you to save it, like if you haven't already saved it, it'll prompt you to save it and you have to do that. But then you have to go back and restart it again. So it's not going to automatically start after you saved it. So always make sure, like on the machine, it will pop up and say like, it has some message at the bottom that says like plate cover is heating or something like that, and then you know it started.
How do you load the plates?
So there's this little drawer here.
Okay.
Again, the machine's not on, but this little, once it's on, this little power button looking thing pops up in this bottom right hand corner, and you just, it's a touchpad, so you just touch that and it brings out this, it swivels out the plate holder and you put the plate in there.
Cool.
And then same thing, you close it by the same button. So just make sure, like the computer has been staying pretty far over, but sometimes people move the computer here. So just make sure it's moved before you swing the arm out so that it doesn't like hit the computer. But yeah, other than that, I don't ever interface like with the actual touch screen. I just like open and close and do everything else in the software on the computer.
Cool. Okay. Thanks.
Sure, yeah. And then when you go to, I think it has the capability to do some analysis, like if you want that, but you can also just export all of this and like analyze it yourself. So it has a little export feature down here, and then you just route to your file, like wherever your USB is, since this isn't on the internet, and then you'll just hit export up in the top corner up here, and it will export the file to an XLS for you.
Nice.
And I think that's it. I think it's pretty easy to use. I have never had any like weird issues with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem. The runs take about an hour 45 per plate. I don't know how, that seems to be like a little bit faster than other machines I use, but pretty standard. And oh, you will see too, so after that like heating up stage, you'll see a timer will pop up and have a countdown for how long the plate needs to run, and then you'll know it's for sure running when you see that. But it does take like 3 or 4 minutes for it to heat and actually like show the timer. Okay, yeah, is there any other questions or things I can help with?